Hello, good morning everyone. Myself Krishna Prasad, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, MIT Mysore. So, in the previous session, our beloved colleague Professor Satish discussed about what are the different types of energy resources and what are the types of fuels and all. So, today we are going to discussing about first thing it is called what is meant by renewable energy resources and types of renewable energy resources. So, the renewable energy resources means energy resources which are continuously produced in nature and it is inexhaustible, and if it is exhausted and it can be renewed within a short period of time, that is called renewable energy resources. And the types of renewable energy resources it is called solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, hydro energy and nuclear power. So, in the very first thing it is called, first we need to understand what is meant by the solar energy. So first, what is meant by the solar energy? Solar energy means it is energy radiated from the sun in the form of electromagnetic radiation, that is called solar energy. So next thing it is called, then what is meant by the solar power? So solar power means it is power utilized by producing the solar energy, it is called solar power. So next, it is very important thing in the solar energy concept, it is called solar thermal energy harvesting system. So what is meant by the solar thermal energy harvesting system? Here, solar energy radiated from the sun, it has to capture, stored and utilized for various applications, that is called solar thermal energy harvesting system. So here there are three types. The one it is called liquid flat plate collector, then it is called solar point, and then it is called solar photovoltaic cell. So very first thing we need to understand what is meant by the liquid flat plate collector. So the liquid flat plate collector, it is mainly used for low temperature applications like cooking, heating as well as drying the food grains and vegetables, where liquid flat plate collectors are used. So liquid flat plate collectors are used in the domestic solar water heater tank. So that means in the domestic solar water heater tank, first we need to understand what is the working of liquid flat plate collector. So this liquid flat plate collector, it is connected to the two tanks. The one it is called upper header tank, other one it's called solar water heater tank. Here the input of the liquid flat plate collector, it is connected to the overhead tank, and output of the liquid flat plate collector, it is connected to the solar water heater tank. Then what are the main parts of the liquid flat plate collector? The main parts of the liquid flat plate collectors are called, first one absorber plate, second one it is called water tube, and third one it is called transparent glass cover, and fourth one it is called casing. First we need to understand what is meant by the absorber plate. How absorber plates are made? Absorber plates are made up of copper and it is coated with black so as to absorb the solar radiations are falling on it. And the second one it is called water tubes. So what are the water tubes? Water tubes are nothing but it is the metallic tubes through which water circulates. And the third one it is called transparent glass cover. This transparent glass cover, it is nothing but toughened glass and it is having the sufficient amount of thickness. The main purpose of using the transparent glass cover, that means whenever solar radiation passes through this cover, then it is incident on the absorber plate, and few of the radiations get reflected from the absorber plate and it will get escapes into the atmosphere, but transparent glass cover, it does not going to allow this. That means this transparent glass cover is going to captures those radiation and reflected back to the absorber plate. That means heat is remains trapped in the air space between the absorber plate and the transparent glass cover. That means the complete utilization of solar energy. Next one, what is meant by the casing? So casing, it is provided below the liquid flat plate collector in order to prevent the heat losses by conduction. So then what is the working of liquid flat plate collector? So the working of the liquid flat plate collector, I already told, the liquid flat plate collector input is connected to the overhead tank and output is connected to the solar water heater tank. That means initially water from the overhead tank is made to flow through the water tubes, and during the sunshine, so solar radiation is passes through the transparent glass cover and falls on the absorber plate. Once the solar radiation is falls on the absorber plate, it absorbs the heat energy. Then this heat energy from the absorber plate is transferred to the water flowing through the water tubes. Then the water gets heated up. Once the water gets heated up, it loses its density. That means the density of the hot water is always less than the cold water, hence it is rises up and collected in the solar water heater tank. So this is the working of liquid flat plate collector. That means we are utilizing the solar energy into heat energy, then it is used for cooking, heating. The next topic, it is called solar pond. So what is mean by the solar pond? Solar pond is a pool of salt water that is used to collect and store solar energy in the form of heat. Then the heat energy, then it is used for various applications like drying the food grains. Then it is also used for electrical power supply, and it is also used for power generation purpose. So then, before understanding what exactly is the solar pond, first we need to understand how the solar energy it is get wasted actually in case of the lake or a pond. So during the sunshine, when solar radiation passes through the water, then water is get absorb the solar radiation and gets heated up. So once the water gets heated up, it rises upwards and settles at the top. And once it reaches the top, it gives off its radiation to the atmosphere. Hence, the solar radiation and its heat energy get wasted. Then how to utilize this heat energy? That means here in case of the solar pond, we are having some mechanism. So in that mechanism, we are completely storing the solar energy and its heat energy completely in the storage zone. From the storage zone, it is pumping it to the evaporator or a boiler, where it is heated further. Hence it get converting from water into the steam. So the heat energy of the steam, then it is made to flow over the turbine to convert the mechanical energy. Then in turn it can be converted into electrical energy in case of the generator. Then what is the construction of the solar pond? So the construction of the solar pond, it is very simple. That means it constructed below the ground level, and it mainly consists of 3 zones. The first one, it is called surface zone, second one it is called gradient zone, and third one it is called storage zone. So first, what is mean by the surface zone? So the top zone, it is called it as the surface zone, and it contains very less salt content in it, and as well as it is exposed to the atmosphere. Hence it is at the atmospheric condition or atmospheric temperature. So next, second one, it is called bottom zone. The bottom zone, it is also called it as the storage zone, and it is having the very high salt content in it, and the temperature of the storage zone, it is around 70 to 85 degrees centigrade, and whatever the solar radiation passes through the surface zone and gradient zone, it reaches the storage zone, and the solar radiation, it is going to capture and store. Then it is utilized for various application from the storage zone. And next, the very important one, it is called it as the intermediate zone. The intermediate zone, it is also called it as the gradient zone, and this gradient zone, it is usually acts as a transparent insulator. Why it is acts as a transparent insulator? That is very important, because the layers of water above the gradient zone, it is having the very less salt content. Similarly, the layers of water above the gradient below the gradient zone having the very high salt content. Therefore, the layers of water in the gradient zone, it neither rise nor fall. That's why the layers of water in the gradient zone, it acts as a transparent insulator, so that whatever the solar radiation passes from the surface zone and then it passes through the gradient zone, then it is directly enters into the storage zone. So in the storage zone, because of the very high salt content, the solar radiation, it is going to capture and store there itself. Hence the heat energy, it is completely stored in the storage zone. So this is the construction regarding to the solar pond. Then what is the working of the solar pond? Very simple. We are already told the solar pond is a pool of salt water with a very less salt content at its top and very high salt content at its bottom. So then what happens? During the sunshine, when solar radiation passes through the surface zone and gradient zone, then it enters into the storage zone. In the storage zone, because of the very high salt content, the heat energy is completely going to capture and traps there itself. Then hot water is then pumped to from the storage zone into the evaporator or a boiler, where it is going to heat it further. Hence the water is get converted into the steam. So the steam having the very heat energy, the heat energy is then made to flow over the turbine in order to convert heat energy of the steam into the mechanical energy. So then mechanical energy in turn can be converted into electrical energy with the help of the generator. So that means, and this solar pond in India, it is installed in the Bhuj of Gujarat in order to utilize the solar energy into the electrical energy. So next, the last part of the solar energy, it is called it as solar photovoltaics. The solar photovoltaic cell, it is very important and it is generally used in the various applications like electric watches as well as in the traffic signal. We are going to use the solar photovoltaic cell. Then how the working of the solar photovoltaic cell? The solar photovoltaic cell, it is also called it as the solar cells. That means which converts solar energy into the electrical energy. So then what is the construction of the solar photovoltaic cell and how solar photovoltaic cells are made? The solar photovoltaic cells are usually made up of semiconductor materials like silicon. So these semiconductor materials consists of two layers. The first layer has N-type silicon and it contains negatively charged electrons, and another layer it is called P-type silicon and it contains positively charged holes. Then this charge distribution across the junction, that means across the junction means there is an interface between P-type silicon and N-type silicon. This is called it as the PN junction. Next, principle of photovoltaic cell. Very simple. In a PN junction semiconductor material, the N-type silicon having the negatively charged electron. These negatively charged electrons tend to move towards the P side to combine with large number of holes concentration. Similarly, the P-type silicons having the holes, these holes are tend to move towards the N side in order to combine with large number of electron concentration. This charge distribution across the PN junction gives rise to potential difference across the junction. So this is the principle of solar photovoltaic cell. Then what will be the working of solar photovoltaic cell? Very simple. Whenever this PN junction semiconductor material is exposed to the sunlight, the solar radiation is going to absorb. Whenever solar radiation it falls on the semiconductor PN junction material, some of the solar photons whatever available in the PN junction semiconductor material, these solar photons will have a tendency to eject the free electron from its fixed position in the PN junction semiconductor material. So once these free electrons ejected from its fixed position, then they are tend to move towards the P side in order to combine with large number of holes concentration. Then the moment of negatively charged electrons, we all know that the moment of negatively charged electron, it is nothing but electrical current. Once the electrical current is developed, then potential difference across the PN junction is also going to develop. Then it is used for electrical application. Already told the applications of the PN junction semiconductor materials or solar photovoltaic cells are, it is used in the calculator, watches as well as in the traffic signal. Biofuel. So before going into the biofuels, first we need to again understand what is meant by the fuel. So fuel, it is nothing but fuel is a substance which contains carbon and hydrogen as the main combustible element. On burning with oxygen in the presence of atmospheric air, it produces energy in the form of heat and light. So under that we've already learned with the what is meant by the petroleum fuels. So because the petroleum fuels it is a non-renewable fuel also having the high environmental pollution. So because of that we are moving on to the biofuels. So what is meant by the biofuels? So biofuels, it is generally it is called it as a liquid fuels and it is obtained from the biomass or biological materials. The biological materials like sugarcane, starch, cellulose, corn, wheat. So these are some of the biological materials. So based on the physical state of existence, these biofuels are broadly classified into three types. The first one it is called solid biofuels, second one it is called liquid biofuel, and third one it is called gaseous biofuel. So first, what is meant by the solid biofuels and what are solid biofuels? Wood, charcoal, sugarcane, starch, these are all called it as the solid biofuels, and these solid biofuels can be burned directly to produce the energy because these solid biofuels are widely available in nature and it is available from the thousands of years. But it is not so widely used compared to the liquid biofuels because of their high environmental pollution. So that's why solid biofuels are not widely used compared to the liquid biofuels. Next one it is called liquid biofuel. So the liquid biofuels are again divided into two types. The one it is called biodiesel, another one it is called bioethanol. So the biodiesels are usually obtained from animal fat, vegetable oil, cooking oil and the recycled grease, and the process it is used to convert these materials into the biodiesel, it is called trans-esterification process, and 100% pure biodiesel it is called it as the B100, and the biodiesels are it is usually used in the diesel engine and with no modification, And the very important property regarding to the biodiesel, it is called non-toxic and biodegradable. So non-toxic means whatever the emissions obtained from the diesel engine, it is not poisonous. So next one, it is called bioethanol. So bioethanol, it is obtained from the biological materials like corn, wheat and sugarcane, and again the process is used to convert these materials into the bioethanol. It is called trans-esterification process. And the bioethanol, it is also used in the petrol engine, and usually bioethanol, it is going to blend it with the petrol in order to reduce the vehicle emissions around 5 to 10%. As well as by using the bioethanol, the fuel consumption is going to reduce in case of the petrol engine. So next, third one, it is called gaseous fuel. So the gaseous biofuel, they are classified into two types. The one, it is called biogas, and this biogas, it is essentially consists of the methane gas, and it is also non-toxic, and these gases are produced from the biodegradable waste as well as the energy crops. The energy crops is like wheat, corn, sugarcane, etc. And the second one, it is called synthesized gas. The synthesized gas is mainly consists of the carbon monoxide as well as the hydrogen. So next thing, it is regarding to the what is the advantages of biofuels compared to the petroleum fuels. The very first important thing, it is called biofuels are always the renewable fuels. So what is mean by the renewable? So the renewable fuels means these fuels cannot be cannot going to exhaust eventually in future, and if it is exhausted, it can be renewed within a short period of time, because the biological materials like sugarcane, starch, non-energy crops are continuously available from the thousands of years, hence we can be renewed within a short period of time. So next one, it is called non-toxic. So that means whatever the vehicle emissions produced with the diesel engine and petrol engines like carbon monoxide, it is always having the very less percentage in case of the biofuels. Then it is called biodegradable. So next, the safer in working environment compared to the petroleum fuel. The next, it is called less emissions. So emissions produced by the petrol engine and diesel engines like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide are having the very less content compared to the petroleum fuel. The next one, it is called eco-friendly compared to the petroleum fuel. So next, very important one, what is the disadvantages in case of the biofuels? The main disadvantage in case of the biofuel, it is called biofuels cannot be directly used in petrol engine and diesel engine without blending, because the viscosity is very high in case of the biofuels. If the viscosity is very high, the lubrication is improper. So that's why the biofuels are always blended with the liquid and the petrol before it is using in the automobile applications. Then other applications regarding to the biofuels are, it is already it is used in the automobile industry, aviation industries and the marine industry. Next, the very important thing, that is called what is the difference between petroleum fuel and the biofuels. So very first one, it is called petroleum fuels, or call it as the non-renewable. So what is meant by the non-renewable? That means these petroleum fuels like coal and petrol, diesel, kerosene are depleting day by day. If it is exhausted, it cannot be renewed within a short period of time. But the biofuels are prepared from the biomass and biological materials, hence it can be renewed within a short period of time, and it is continuously available in nature. Next one, petroleum fuels are toxic. That means carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, these are all called as the poisonous gases. But comparatively, biofuels are non-toxic because the percentage of vehicle emission is very less in case of the biofuel. Then petroleum fuels are non-biodegradable and the biofuels are biodegradable. So next, calorific value. What is mean by the calorific value? It is the amount of heat energy obtained when unit quantity of fuel is completely burned. So the calorific value obtained in case of the petroleum fuel is very high, that is around 40 to 48 megajoule per kg. But in case of the biofuel, it is a little bit less compared to the petroleum fuel, it is around 30 to 37 megajoule per kg. Then emission regarding to the petroleum fuel is very high, and compared to the petroleum fuel, biofuel it is having the less emission. So next, petroleum fuels are usually obtained from the fractional distillation process, but biofuels are usually obtained from the biological materials like trans-esterification process. And the last one, it is called petroleum fuels are not safe compared to the biofuels. The next topic in the module 1, it is called as ozone layer depletion. We all know that Earth's surface, it is completely surrounded by the various layers, and the various layers are called as the troposphere, stratosphere, lithosphere and the biosphere. The Earth's surface, it is initially surrounded by the troposphere, and the troposphere, it is completely surrounded by the stratosphere. And where exactly ozone layer is placed? The ozone layer, it is placed in the stratosphere. Then what is the main advantages of the ozone layer? So ozone layer, it is going to protect us from the thousands of years from the sources of sunlight, because the sunlight emits the harmful UV radiation. If this UV radiation is passes through the ozone molecule and then it is enters into the Earth's atmosphere, then it will going to damage the human life as well as the plants and animal. In order to avoid that, the ozone layer, it is completely protecting the Earth's surface in the stratosphere. So then what is mean by the meaning of ozone layer depletion? So ozone layer depletion, it is nothing but the reduction of amount of oxygen molecule in the stratosphere. And what is the main cause for the ozone layer depletion? The main cause for the ozone layer depletion, it is nothing but chlorofluorocarbon. So what is mean by the chlorofluorocarbon? So chlorofluorocarbon, it is abbreviated as CFC. That means it contains the chlorine atom, carbon atom as well as the fluorine atom. Where this chlorofluorocarbon atom is released? So in the Earth atmosphere, because of using the refrigeration as well as the air conditioning system, so CFCs are going to release. These CFCs are released by the Earth atmosphere. It slowly rises up and then it is enters into the stratosphere. So in the stratosphere, this chlorofluorocarbon atom, it is bombarded with the harmful UV radiations from the sun. So then what happens? That is very much important, and that will going to explain with the help of the chemical reaction, and that is called as the working of ozone layer depletion. So I repeat, so in case of the Earth surfaces, because of using the refrigeration as well as the air conditioning system, so the chlorofluorocarbon, that means CFCs are going to release, and so CFCs are nothing but it is the freon. Okay, CFCs are nothing but the freon. It is one of the important working fluid. It is used in the air conditioning system as well as in the refrigeration system. This chlorofluorocarbon atom, once it is released by the Earth's surface, it is slowly rises up and then it is enters into the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, it is going to incident with the harmful UV radiations. Okay, so that means when chlorofluorocarbon, that means CFCl2, when it is bombarded with the harmful radiations like UV, and this will going to liberate the CFCl plus one chlorine atom. That means the degradation of chlorofluorocarbon into the CFCl, that is the main compound, as well as the chlorine atom. So the degradation of chlorofluorocarbon into the one chlorine atom along with from the parent compound, this is called the initial reaction, happens in case of the stratosphere. Okay, next, this free chlorine atom, again it is interacts with the ozone molecule. Okay, that means this chlorine atom again interacts with the ozone molecule, and this will give rise to chlorine monoxide and oxygen molecule. Okay, this free chlorine atom is interacts with the ozone molecule, then it will give rise to chlorine monoxide and oxygen molecule. But this chlorine monoxide is an unstable compound. Okay, this chlorine monoxide is an unstable compound. When it is interacts with the oxygen molecule in order to combine with the oxygen molecule to become the chlorine molecule. So okay, so that means chlorine monoxide, it is again interacts with the oxygen. This will give rise to chlorine and oxygen molecule. So this chlorine atom, it is again interacts with the oxygen molecule, again gives rise to the chlorine monoxide and oxygen molecule. This reaction, it is again and again repeated. Okay, and this reaction is gives rise to n number of ozone layer holes. Ozone layer holes going to happen in case of the stratosphere, then harmful UV radiations are enters into the Earth atmosphere, and this will going to make the effects on the human life. So what are the important things we need to observe, or what are the effects on the ozone layer depletion? That is very much important. Okay, the main causes, it is called increasing the amount of UV light. So if the ozone layer depletion is going to occur in the stratosphere, leads into the increasing the amount of UV light, and it is enters into the Earth atmosphere. Then skin cancer. So skin cancer normally we are going to see in case of the aged people as well as in the babies. Then premature aging of the skin and other skin problems. So if it exposes to the harmful UV radiation, then it is going to occur the premature aging and other skin problems are also going to occur. Then permanent damage of the cornea. So permanent damage of the cornea is also one of the problem in case of the ozone layer depletion after it is enters into the earth atmosphere. Then DNA damage is also going to occur. Then destruction of the human body immune system is also going to one of the problem from the ozone layer depletion. Okay, I repeat, what is mean by the ozone layer depletion? So ozone layer depletion, it is nothing but is the reduction of amount of oxygen molecule in the stratosphere. So how ozone layer depletion is going to occur in the stratosphere? It's very simple. When chlorofluorocarbon, that is called freon, it is released by the use of refrigeration and air conditioning system, it is slowly rises up and enters into the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, this chlorofluorocarbon, when it is bombarded with the UV light, this will give rise to the chlorine atom from the parent compound. So this chlorine atom, it is interacts with the oxygen molecule and this will give rise to chlorine monoxide. This chlorine monoxide is an unstable compound, hence this chlorine monoxide again interacts with the oxygen molecule in the stratosphere and this will give rise to chlorine atom. This reaction is repeated, that means one single chlorine atom, it will make the thousands of reaction and that will going to break the ozone layer and it will make the holes in the ozone layer. So then harmful UV radiations are enters into the earth surface and this will going to make the blunders. So that is called increasing the amount of UV light, skin cancer, premature aging of the skin, permanent damage of the cornea, DNA damage as well as the destruction of the human body immune system. This is regarding to the ozone layer depletion. The last topic regarding to the module 1, it is called global warming. In this session, we need to study what is mean by the global warming, then what are the contributors for the global warming, then what is mean by the greenhouse effect, then what are the greenhouse gases. Later, we need to study what are the effects of the global warming and how to control the global warming. Okay, first of all, what is mean by the global warming? So global warming means here warming of the earth through carbon dioxide being pumped into the atmosphere through tailpipe as well as the smokestacks. So this is the definition of global warming. I repeat, what is mean by the global warming? So global warming, it is nothing but warming of the earth through carbon dioxide being pumped into the earth atmosphere through smokestacks as well as the tailpipes. This is called as the global warming. Okay, so in simple words, global warming, it is nothing but increasing the earth temperature. So then what are the main contributors of the global warming, or why global warming is occurs? The global warming is mainly caused by the greenhouse effect. So first of all, what is mean by the greenhouse effect? So greenhouse effect is defined as when earth atmosphere becomes thick with gases and substance which traps the sun's radiation and making the earth warmer. This is called as the greenhouse effect. So observe here, so in the earth surface, because of using the industries as well as the automobiles, there is a wide variety of gases are going to liberated. So the wide variety of gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, these gases are going to trap in the earth surface itself. Okay, whenever the harmful radiations like UV radiations are enters into this thick atmosphere and these radiations are traps here itself, and as well as there is a less amount of heat is going to escapes into the space, then earth surface will going to become warmer. So this is called as the greenhouse effect. So then what are the main contributors for the greenhouse effect? The main contributors for the greenhouse effect are called increasing the greenhouse gases. Then what is mean by the greenhouse gases, or what are the greenhouse gases? The greenhouse gases are nothing but the water vapor. Okay, so next, the water vapor, it is nothing but the steam generated with the help of the gas turbine as well as the water turbine. Okay, then carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide, it is mainly produced by the burning of fuels like petrol, diesel and kerosene. So these fuels are going to liberate the more amount of carbon monoxide. Then methane. So methane is the byproduct of agricultural waste like sawdust, wood flour, etc. So when these byproducts are burned, so in order to produce the biofuel energy, then methane gases are going to liberated. So then nitrogen oxide. So nitrogen oxide is also going to develop because of the automobile emissions. So when these greenhouse gases are more and more in the atmosphere, then it will going to lead into the increase in the earth atmosphere. So this is regarding to the greenhouse effect. Then fossil fuel burning. So I already told what is meant by the fossil fuels. So fossil fuels, it is nothing but petrol, diesel and the kerosene. So we already studied what is meant by the fuel. The fuel is a substance which contains carbon and hydrogen as the main combustible element. When it is burned in the air with presence of oxygen, then it will going to liberate a large amount of energy in the heat as well as the light. But whatever the byproducts obtained by the burning of the fossil fuels, it is nothing but carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide. These gases are going to traps in the earth's surface and makes the earth warmer. So this is regarding to the fossil fuels. Next, deforestation. So once we are cutting down the trees, then what are the main problems? Then there is a excess amount of carbon dioxide available in the earth atmosphere, but there is only the limited amount of oxygen molecule. So this will going to lead into the increasing of earth's surface. So this is regarding to the greenhouse gases. Then what are the effects of the global warming? So because of the greenhouse gases, then the main effects occurs in the earth's surface. It is called increasing of earth atmosphere and ocean. Obviously there is an increase in temperature at the earth atmosphere as well as in the ocean, that will going to melt the polar ice. Then other problems regarding to the global warming, it is called change of climate condition. So because of change in the climate condition, we are going to receive the acid rains. Then destabilization of ocean currents. So completely the ocean is going to unstable and it will going to make a lot of problem. So how to control the global warming? So the global warming can be controlled by taking the international initiatives by cutting down the using of fossil fuels as well as reducing the industrial effects. That means by reducing the industrial emissions as well as the automobile emissions. That's why we need to shifting from diesel engine and petrol engines to the electrical engines. So next, cutting down the use of fossil fuels. So nowadays instead of using the fossil fuels, we are moving on to the using of electrical system as well as the biofuels. So in the biofuels also we are going to having the very limited amount of emissions compared to the petroleum fuels. Next, improving the efficiency of the energy usage. So we need to use the renewable energy resources instead of the non-renewable energy resources. So renewable energy resources means solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, hydro energy. So then the global warming is going to reduces. Then reducing of the deforestation especially. So this is very important point. So we need to grow the trees or we need to reduce the cutting down the trees. Then only the global warming will going to coming into the normal state. Then planting of the trees is one of the important points in the control of the global warming. And we all know that so earth is making the one of the balancing of the greenhouse gases, but the industrial revolution as well as using of the automobiles that increases the greenhouse gases. So that is the main problem for the effect of the global warming. So that's why we need to take the initiative for the control of the global warming. So how to take the initiative? So through reducing the emissions or cutting down the use of fossil fuels or improving the efficiency of the energy usage and reducing the deforestation. So this is regarding to the control of the global